So hey guys, welcome back to Accelerated Investor. Once in a while, I have an interview that I do that really just gets me juiced, really gets me super juiced. This is one of those interviews. I'm interviewing a gentleman named Tyler Jensen. He is with Utah House Flip, and this is an amazing interview. You're going to love it. He's a residential investor. He primarily focuses on flipping houses, meaning buying with private money, rehabbing properties and selling them for a profit. And in this interview, we're going to talk about how Tyler has successfully rehabbed and flipped 4 properties, get this guys, in less than 7 days. You're going to love this interview. We're also going to talk about what Tyler's working on right now in his own business, continue to focus on. He does about 35 to 45 big rehab flips a year. We'll talk about how he's finding deals off market, renovating and rehabbing them, sometimes in as little as 7 days. Guys, think about that. A $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 rehab budget punched out in 7 to 10 days. It's amazing. We're going to talk about that with Tyler. And then he brings these properties back to market. And because of COVID, because of coronavirus, there's less inventory on the market. He's selling properties for over asking price. We'll also talk about his first deal where he lost $37,000 on his very first deal, and then how he turned around and made $39,000 on the second deal to make his private investor and private lender whole. So we'll talk about some of the challenges he's faced, growing up poor, growing up having his lights turned off and his family cars repoed. We'll talk about all of that. And then finally, some specific advice that Tyler has around real estate and how it's really a people business. You're going to love this interview with Tyler Jensen. Take a listen.
Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you love entrepreneurship and investing in real estate, then you are in the right place. Josh is the CEO of Freeland Ventures Real Estate Private Equity and has personally invested in well over 500 properties all across the country. He's also made hundreds of private lender loans and owns over 1,000 units of apartments. Josh is an expert at raising private money for deals, and he prides himself on never having had a boss in his entire adult life. Josh and his team also mentor investors and entrepreneurs from all over the world. He doesn't dream about doing deals. He actually does them, and so do his listeners and students. Now sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So Tyler, listen, welcome to Accelerated Investor. So excited to have you on. Listen, man, when we got prepared for this and I was kind of reading the show notes for my team, and I've had some of your other buddies on the podcast, Mike Simmons and some other guys. When I started hearing about you flipping houses in 7 days, like full rehabs, $40,000 at a time, I'm like, dude, I got to have this guy on the podcast. We got to interview him. So Tyler, welcome to Accelerated Investor. What I would love to hear from you right away, Tyler, there's a lot going on in the world. We just recently had this crazy presidential debate. Guys are totally killing each other. Kind of sets a really weird example for the country. COVID's still going on. We've got this election coming up, but entrepreneurs, guys like you and I, are still out there tearing it up, very positive, making things happen, making money. That's what our audience wants to hear, is positivity. So Tyler, tell our audience something that you're working on right now that you're really excited about, whether it's a property, whether it's an event, podcast, book. What are you working on that's getting you juiced up?
Yeah, awesome. Josh, well, first off, man, thank you for having me. I'm honored. I love your stuff that you put out. You're making a huge impact. So really appreciate you having me on your show, man. But something I'm super stoked about, coronavirus has been really good for our business, honestly. And so we've had a really great year. It really hasn't slowed us down. We kind of paused there when it first kind of came on for about a week. And we said, hey, you know what? There's opportunity out there. We're going to go and take it. And I feel like that tidal wave of opportunity is coming and going to be even better. So I'm really excited about that. If the market changes or corrects or anything like that, we're in a really good position to take advantage of that. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that, right? To see what happens and how this coronavirus and the presidential election and all of that happens, because there's always opportunity out there. It's just a matter of seeing it. And so I think that there's a lot more opportunity coming, which is great. But another thing I'm super stoked about is we're having a huge event. It's called Flip Hacking Live. It's amazing. It's some of the best real estate investors in the country. You talked about Mike Simmons and Bill Allen. All these guys are just powerhouses out there. And I get the opportunity to speak at it. So I am super stoked. It's my second year speaking at it. There's going to be over 1,000 people at this event. And I just get to teach. That's what I love doing, right? I love talking to people and helping people grow their businesses. So I'm going to talk about everything from flipping houses in 7 days to working with contractors, to finding good contractors, to managing that time, that budget, and the quality of rehabbing houses. So everything you need to know about flipping houses, I'm going to talk about. So I've really just been consumed with that. What do people need right now? And what's working, what's not? And then what do I see coming down the pipeline in the future for guys like me that are rehabbing houses?
Perfect. Well, let's talk about what we see over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months first. I'd love to get your take on that. And then let's jump into some of your techniques and strategies for flipping houses very quickly. For a lot of people, finding deals can be a challenge. For other people, it's finding private money could be a challenge. For other people, it's finding contractors and doing a quality job in a timely way. You've got that pretty licked. So I'd love to talk to you about that. So let's back up though and talk about the market. Inventory is very low. What's on the market is very low. But we've got this kind of tidal wave of forbearances, evictions, potential foreclosures coming up. So what's your take? What do you think is going to happen in the next 6 to 18 months? And how are you going to position your business to take advantage of it?
Yeah, right. I wish I had that crystal ball that everybody wishes they had, right? That they could say, yeah, this is what's going to happen and Trump's going to win the election or whatever, right? Like we don't know any of that. And so it's really, you just got to keep that pulse on it. But the best part about this is that I surround myself with people across the country, right? So I get a good feel of, hey, how's your inventory levels over in California? And how's your inventory levels in Florida? And what do you guys see happening? And kind of that pulse that I'm getting is that, yeah, there is potential for some of those things that you were talking about, notice of defaults coming and landlords that they can't evict their tenants till the end of the year. Like all of those things really can cause issues for the market. But as far as us, like low inventory is really good. We're still buying deals, we're finding properties, and we're getting multiple offers and selling. We're really pushing the ARVs. The after repaired values is what that is, but we're really pushing those. We're getting multiple offers and we're pushing more than what we thought we could get for them. So right now we're getting the good while it's good, right? Yeah. And when it happens, we can adapt. I started flipping houses in 2008, right? That was the bottom of the market. I had no idea what I was doing, right? And I was like, oh, this is a great market. And if you look back and you say, oh, 2008 sucked, that was a terrible market. But I was ready for it and we adapted, right? We were doing a ton of foreclosures and short sales and stuff like that. And so I was really poised in that position that we could do those things. And then those kind of dried away and we went into flipping houses and renovating and kind of stuff like that. So it's really just a matter of what happens if you're willing to adapt and to pivot, right? So if notice of defaults come back and there's a huge tidal wave of these foreclosures, then yeah, we're going to jump all over that and we're going to get ready to take. If it stays strong and the economy stays on an uptick where we're at now, then great. We're going to keep buying houses at a discount and we're going to keep getting multiple offers and selling them for more than what we thought we could.
That's fantastic. Let me just pick your brain on a few things. So the after repaired values, I love the fact that you're pushing the ARVs. We're seeing stuff that hits the market sell in a day for over asking price. And we're getting away with, not getting away with, but the market's dictating we can, when we do a rehab flip, very similar to what you're talking about, really even selling it for much more than before COVID. Prices have actually gone up, inventory is down. So the question becomes, how do you find deals? So what are some strategies that are working for you? Because I talk to my audience all the time, like there's no inventory for investors, there's no inventory for retail buyers. So if you can find deals off market, whether you're wholesaling them, whether you're rehabbing them and selling them retail, the market is consumed with finding deals that are on market. So you have to find stuff that's off market, rather prehab it, rehab it, take it back to market, and you're gonna sell it. You're gonna sell it because everyone needs inventory. But the key then is finding the stuff to begin with. What kind of things are you guys doing to kind of position yourself differently and get that off-market inventory?
Yeah, so finding deals for us, our biggest push, it really comes down to two things, right? If you're a first-time investor, if you have time or you have money, right? So there's both ways to do marketing, and we do both. We spend money to do marketing. We're doing direct mail and RVM and texting and all that kind of paid advertising, but also the stuff that doesn't cost any money that we're doing, right? I'm teaching at RIAs. I teach a lot of realtor classes. We work with a lot of attorneys. Stuff like that, just building your network and building your brand has been really a huge thing for us. We get a high majority of our deals from wholesalers that can't move a property, or we just closed on one yesterday that the guy said, hey, look, I've got way better offers, but I know that you can close. And we got to close this by tomorrow, right? So he took $20,000 less because I wasn't going to pay that price, but he knew that we could perform. And that he just called us, right? He said, hey, I got this deal. I need to close tomorrow. I know you're the guy. I've got better offers, but I need you to close on it. So we did it, right? Nice. And that was just building our network. So we do a lot of that stuff that we're just really networking with other investors, other wholesalers, other agents. We do a lot of things that we're giving value to them, right? We can perform. We say what we're going to do is what we do. And that just really builds a huge, powerful impact in your network, right? So big time. we have a lot of people bring us deals that we don't have to go out and hunt for them, right? We either have students or we have people that we're helping teach, or all of these things that we're building. So that's been the most successful thing for us, is having that integrity, doing what you say you're going to do, and then performing on it, right? And making sure that we really are the closers and we can make it happen. So that's been the biggest key for us. But we also do that other paid advertising, stuff like that, but it's just not my favorite. I like meeting people and I like giving value. So that's what I enjoy doing.
My newest and most powerful real estate investing book, The Flip System, is now available. And for a limited time, you can grab your free copy at getflipsystem.com/podcast. Using the same proven principles, secrets, and investing strategies I'm sharing in this book, I've been able to personally close over 750 highly profitable real estate deals over the last 15 years, make over 400 private lender loans, raise over $30 million of private money, and acquire over 2,000 units of apartments. Get my newest book now for free for a limited time at getflipsystem.com/podcast. That's getflipsystem.com/podcast. We've got an apartment building that we're buying. We've got a couple real big ones, $4 million deal, a $7 million deal, but we got this little guy. It's a 16 unit. We went last week on the tour real quick, and they were marketing the property for almost $700,000. There were multiple offers in the 600 range, 650, 625. And I can't reveal the price because we haven't closed yet, but we got it for way less than that, because we've bought from this particular wholesaler multiple times already. Yep. We've closed cash every time. It wasn't our cash, but it was our private investors' cash. And the guy knew we could close, and we had no financing contingency at all. So very similar to what you're talking about. Now, when you work with new investors, Tyler, and they don't have the ability to maybe get up and teach, or they don't have the reputation that you have as a closer, what are you teaching your people, or what strategies would you recommend a newer investor use? Because you talked about time or money. What can they do to find more deal flow when inventory is low? People are, with COVID, maybe a little bit skittish to meet people face to face. What are you doing with those folks, your newer members or newer students, so they can find deals in this market?
Yeah, a lot of things. So really, we kind of pitch that question to them. Do you have time or do you have money, right? And then pick your marketing strategy based on that. And if you don't, you're just getting started, you don't have any money, you're trying to find deals, then we strongly encourage people to network, right? Go to these RIA meetings, go to stuff like that, and just create, hey, look, I'm starting new, I'm trying to ask for help, what do I need to do to get deals? So networking is really good, especially if you're a flipper like me. Wholesaling is a different avenue, right? But if you want to flip houses, then you need to network with those people that can bring you deals, or that are already spending the money to go out and find the deals. And so just a lot of things like that. Driving for dollars, we teach, is a big thing, right? I have a kid in our market that's all they do is drive for dollars, and they do 40, 50, 60 deals a year. It's
funny you said a kid in our market, right? I love these young dudes that are hungry, right? Exactly. The older dudes like me, 44 years old, gray hair. I'm like, I don't know if I feel like working that hard or getting in my car and driving, but We teach a similar strategy, Tyler. We've got the software AI office. We can pull out vacant houses, absentee owners with high equity. And then we teach our members to get out, get in the market, get in your car, go drive 250 or 500 houses. You're probably going to come back with 10% of those, maybe 15%, that have physical distress. You can see physical distress on the outside. Yep. So now you've got this amazing list of vacant, high equity, out of town owner with distress that you can physically see. Now that becomes your smaller list that you can really focus on with direct mail, text messaging, things like you talked about. That's the stuff my brother said years ago. My brother was a partner of mine in this business for a long time. He said, expand your market or expand your marketing. And that's really resonated with me. If you can't find deals, expand your market, meaning go out maybe to the more rural areas or pick another market, or expand your marketing, which means just get better at marketing, get a little bit more dialed in with your marketing. Don't just spend more money on direct mail. Actually spend less money, get more laser focused, but you might have to put in some sweat equity, some sweat time to really hone that list in, right? That's working in today's market. You guys are in a totally different market than we are too, which is awesome to hear. You're kind of doing some of the same stuff.
Yeah, totally. And we recommend the exact same things that you're doing, right? If you are going to market, then do some niche-based marketing. Maybe focus on probates or vacant properties or absentee owners or things like that. That isn't just people with high equity, right? Like that's a huge list. You want to narrow down that list to like things you can physically see. That's why same thing, right? Driving for dollars. You can see this house needs some love. We're going to make an offer, and they're motivated sellers. So absolutely, but it really, Josh, and I think you'll totally agree with this. It's 100% a numbers game. You have to have that desire and that passion and that hunger to get out and to knock on 100 doors or to make 100 phone calls. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not, people always say, oh, I can't find deals. Well, how many phone calls did you make yesterday? Right. Oh, I didn't make any. Oh, well, no freaking crap. You can't find deals, right? Because you're not working to find deals, right? Like it really is, you have to have that drive and that hunger that, hey, I'm going to make 100 phone calls today, no matter what, whatever it takes. I'm going to go drive and see 100 houses. If you do that, I promise that you'll get deals, because it really is, anyone in this business knows that it's 100% a numbers game. You have to be willing to go out and to make the 100 phone calls in order to get deals. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, and they're surprised at why they're not successful.
Yeah. I'm not going to pick up the phone. I'm not going to send any direct mail. I'm not going to pull any lists. I'm not going to drive for dollars. Why can't I find any deals, Josh and Tyler? What the heck? So Tyler, listen, I want to make sure we get to this. This is really cool. Totally. You're getting pretty well known. You guys are doing a really amazing job at flipping properties. And when I say flipping, I mean rehabbing and flipping on the retail market, like on the MLS to a retail buyer. But you're able to pull off these big rehabs, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 rehabs in 7 to 10 days. And so when I heard that, I'm like, got to have Tyler on the podcast, figure out how he's doing it, help me understand, and then give us some tips about locating contractors, some of your tips for locating contractors, getting your crew sort of on time, on budget, and sort of ready to do a job in 7 to 10 days that's that big. Just, first of all, tell us how it gets done. I've never done one that fast with that kind of budget, so I'm dying to hear.
So we do a lot of these 7-day flips, right? We just filmed a YouTube series about, we did 4 rehabs in 7 days. So we had 2 duplexes that were right next door to each other. And it's really just about logistics. So what I'm a huge proponent, these are the 3 principles of flipping a house, right? You have to control your time, you have to control your budget, and you have to control your quality. If you can meet those 3 pillars of this flipping stool, if you will, right, then you'll be successful. So let's talk really quick about time. How do you manage time? I was sick of flips taking 6 months, 8 months, right? Contractors would never show up. And it would piss me off. We call them dead days, right? When you show up to the property and you're the only one at the property. Yeah. I hate that because
don't you love it when you call a contractor's like, I just left. I just went to Home Depot to get material.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, sure you did. You weren't even at the property today.
Exactly. My mom died again the 3rd time this week, right? Like, it's just all the excuses. So controlling time, I was sick of that. So I told my project manager, I said, hey, I'm sick of these 6-month projects. Like, they're killing money. Our investors are making more money than we are. Like, this isn't the way we need to do it. I want to control the variable of time. So I said, I want to do this next house in 7 days. What does that look like? We have to manage our materials. We have to manage our man hour. What does it really take to do that? So we thought about it, right? We said, hey, well, if we had this many guys, it would take this many man hours. And if we could control the materials, how do we do that, right? So we really took that 6-month flip, and I said, hey, Parkinson's law says that the time that you give something, that's how long it's going to take. So I said, if we're going to do this in 7 days, $40,000 rehab, we're going to change the roof, we're going to do the utilities, we're going to do everything in 7 days. And he's like, no way, it's not possible. You can't do that, right? And so I was like, well, I think it is possible, and here's why. Here's my explanation to it, is that we can really control those things. So managing our time was a big thing. We planned it out really, really well. We said, okay, day 1, what has to happen? What are our milestones that we have to hit? Day 2, what does that look like? Day 3, and even in our flips now, we don't flip every house in 7 days, but we really take the time to plan them out. A lot of people just jump into these and say, yeah, here, contractor, here's a bag of money, go flip this house and get it done in 2 weeks, right? That never will happen. So we really spend time in planning these things and say, we fill out what's called a Gantt chart, right? That we'll say, okay, day 1, it looks like this. Day 2, this looks like here. And then we're also stacking our contractors. So I never have one contractor working on one of our properties. We always have 2 or 3. If I have guys on the roof, I want guys inside painting. If I have a window guy doing windows outside, I want someone laying floors, right? So it's just really about that efficiency. So that's kind of the time management side. And like what you said, in our 7-day flips, I banned Home Depot runs. I said, no one's allowed to go to Home Depot because it kills time, right?
Oh yeah, a couple hours drive,
and then 3
grab
or 4
lunch
guys
on the
go
way
for a $9 part. Right?
I got to go to the bathroom on the way. I got to grab lunch, come back. You left at 9:30. Now it's 12:30. You're finally back on the job site, and you only needed like $2,000 worth of stuff, but you just wasted a whole day.
Yeah, no kidding. And most of the time, it's not even $2,000. It's like $8 worth of stuff, and 4 guys have to go get 1 part. So we banned all that. We bought a U-Haul truck. So we strategically stacked it. So day 1 was at the back of the truck. So they'd open up the door, and here's everything you need for day 1. Here's day 2, day 3, day 4, day 7 was at the very front of the truck. All the appliances, stuff you put in last, right? We just really thought about what the plan was for this flip. Material management, no Home Depot runs. We had a bathroom. We catered lunch. I spent $1,000 on lunch, and I guarantee I got more than $5,000 back in wasted time. Because guys weren't leaving. They were staying on the site. They weren't taking a 2-hour lunch break, a smoke break, a BS break, right? They were there on site. They were working, and we could manage that time. We could control that time. And then budget, as far as our budget goes, we call a standardized pricing. So every contractor, we don't get bids from contractors anymore. We give them the bid and say, hey, we pay $18 a sheet for sheetrock. Can you do it for that and make money on it? Great. If not, then you're not our guy, right? So we really control that number, that we know exactly how much our budget's going to be. So we're very rarely now over budget. And even if a skeleton pops out of the closet, right, an unexpected thing, we've already planned for it. We already have a piece in our budget that we say, hey, what if this happens? Okay, let's plan for it. And then we have a solid budget. We're never going to go over budget.
Right.
So controlling that budget, again, in 7 days, you have to manage your materials. We had to ban all those Home Depot runs, and we don't pay any contractors up front. We don't give any deposits. We say, hey, look, we want to control the money, because if you can control that, then you can be successful. How many times have you given a contractor money and they never show up, or they take that money and they put it into another job, right? So that time we talked about, how do you control the time? How do you control the budget? But I also said, hey, we're doing this really fast. I don't want it to be poor quality, right? I want it to be a high level of quality. And so you have to manage that as well. You have to set those expectations with your contractors, saying, hey, this is what I expect, and this is the standard. And if you can't hit this standard and my expectations, it's not going to work. So are you okay with that? Can you give me your best effort? And let's make sure that the subway tile is straight and that paint touch-up looks good, and all of that other stuff. So those are really the 3 pillars that we look at when we're flipping a house.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and then just as far as getting contractors, there's so many ways. I'm talking about this in super big detail at Flip Hacking Live, but I talk about 25 different ways to find contractors. So just some of my favorites are, we call it driving for contractors. When you're out and you see a roofer and you take a picture of his van, right? Or you're at Home Depot at the pro desk and you're talking with those guys. Hey, who do you know? I need an electrician. Who do you recommend? Oh, this guy was in here this morning. You should talk with him. He's really good. Just a lot of that stuff, right? Putting yourself out there where good contractors are. because good contractors usually don't need you, right?
Yeah, right.
You want to be the horse that they want to say, hey, well, how can I add value to them, right? We pay them every week. They don't have to find more work. We always pay consistently. They know exactly what they're going to get paid on the job. All of those things, we're adding value to the contractors. They don't want to go and hunt and kill. They're not, business owners. They don't want to own a marketing company. They want to swing a hammer and be craftsmen and do what they're good at. And so how do you add value to them, right? And you just got to think of that, hey, this is a win-win for both of us, that I'm not going to pay you retail, but I'm going to give you a lot of work, and we're going to win together. And if you have that abundance mentality, then contractors will come to you, right? They'll want to work with you because they're like, oh man, I heard that you're awesome to work for. You always pay me. I know how much I'm going to make up front. And, I always have work, right? I never have to go and find new work. Right. So there's no lapse in my time. I can keep my guys busy, and that's really important to them.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. It's amazing to me how many investors are like, okay, I found a great deal, check that off the list. I found the private money, check that off the list. Now I'm just, and I've got, a $60,000 profit in here, maybe minus some of my soft costs, my carrying costs. I'm going to walk away, realtor fees, walk away with 40 grand. But they don't put nearly the effort into finding the contractor. So that 40,000 all of a sudden becomes 8,000 because the contractor went way over time, way over budget. All of a sudden soft costs are growing. The price that you thought it was going to sell for is no longer 400,000 because the quality of the work isn't there. It's now 360. And you're selling the property for less. And so the upward pressure of expenses is happening. The downward pressure of the market because the quality of the work is not there is happening. And then all of a sudden that profit goes to zero because you didn't put the same amount of effort into finding the contractor and working with the contractor, scheduling the contractor, using some sort of project management software to make sure the contractor hits their deadlines. You put all that effort into finding the deal and then just left it up to some schlub who's going to do your deal for you. You got to make sure you have all three, like you said, three pillars of the stool: finding the deal, finding the money, finding and working with the contractor. Then you've got a home run deal. And that usually requires all three. Very rarely do you get I found this deal by accident. I got the private money by accident, and then the contractor was by accident, and it all worked out, and I still made 40,000. Yeah, it just doesn't happen that way. Tyler, so totally agree. Give us some backdrop. Obviously have a lot of experience now. You're doing some teaching, some education. You're speaking at events, but you started somewhere. Where did you start? Everyone's always interested. Maybe part of our audience is just getting going, never done a deal, or only done their first couple deals. Maybe COVID has them freaked out. They don't want to get started yet. They're kind of sitting on the sidelines. How did you get going, and how did you kind of convince yourself that, yep, this is something I want to do. I'm going to be really good at this. How did you gain confidence?
Yeah, totally. So kind of background story on me. I grew up on a dairy farm, right? My family didn't have a lot of money. I grew up broke, right? I remember our power being shut off and our cars being repoed and all of that stuff, right? So I grew up, that was kind of always my motivation to never have to do that, right? I didn't want my kids to experience that. So that was kind of my driving factor growing up. I was like, hey, I want to be successul, and this lifestyle is not for me, right? I want to make sure that I can be financially free. So that was kind of my upbringing. And then I started college, and that's when I started flipping houses, right? Is that I took the corporate America route. I was like, hey, I want to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I need to get a degree. So I was going to school and flipping houses. So picture this, I'm working full time. I'm going to school at night, and then nights and weekends after school, after homework, spring break, all of that stuff, I'm literally flipping houses. So I'm doing my own paint work. I'm doing my own tile. I'm doing all of that stuff, right? I did 100% everything just on a side hustle. My first deal, we lost money. Now I'm in the hole. I'm starting out $37,000 negative, right? And I was like, that's more than I make in a year.
Yeah.
So that was a driving factor to make sure that our second deal, we made $39,000. I paid off our investor. And I said, hey, you know what? I've had a really bad experience and I've had a really good experience. I feel like I can keep going. So I still took that corporate America route. I was a COO for a company. I did all of that stuff, but I realized really quickly that you're trading your time for money. And I didn't want to do that, right? I wanted to have both. I wanted to have time so I could hang out with my kids, with my wife, and that I could also have that financial freedom that I wanted as well. So real estate to me was always that draw. So a couple of years ago, I was still flipping houses on the side. I had a couple GCs that would do it for me while I would go to work. And I just side hustled it, right? I knew that was my passion and that's what I wanted to do. And it just came to this point that this crossroads that I felt like I was losing money by going to work. Honestly, I'm going to work today. Why don't I just do real estate? I'm going to lose money by going to work. So long story short on that, I came home one day. We had just closed on 2 properties. And I told my wife, I said, hey, I want to quit my job. I want to pursue this dream. I want to go tackle real estate. And what do you think she said, Josh? She's like, absolutely. What? She's like, no way, right? Yeah. You are not going to quit your job. You have 401k and you have health insurance and you have a steady income. Why would you go to school for this? Why would you want to do that? And so anyways, long story short, we thought about it. We prayed about it. We talked about it. We said, hey, look, this is something that I want to produce. I want to, pursue. And she said, all right, you have 6 months. 6 months. If you're not successful, then you got to go back and get a job. And so that's what happened. But it was up to me now. I could control my own fate. I can control my own income. I could control my own hours. And that was freedom to me, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to have that freedom. And now it's great. Every Friday I take off and I hang out with my kids and I get that time freedom. I have good income that my team does most. There's houses. We just bought a house yesterday. I didn't even see it. I probably won't ever see it. Yeah. Right. And that's just really cool that I have a good team in place that have just built good people around me. And so my advice for people that are getting started is you have to know your why, number one, right? Why do you want to get into real estate? What are you going to do when, something goes bad and you lose sleep at night or you're lost money or whatever? Is your why strong enough to carry you through that and to keep you going? So that's first off, right? Start with why. And then second off is your drive and your passion. If you don't have that drive and that passion, you're probably never going to get there, right? You're going to be one of these guys that still goes to a RIA for 20 years and have never done a deal, right? I've
met a few of those guys.
Yeah, right. I go to the RIA. I know everything there is to know about real estate, but I can't take that next step and take action. Right. So it really is just that, right? Is there deals out there? Absolutely. In any market. I truly believe that. There really are deals out there. If you're willing to put in the grind and make that numbers game that we talked about, there's deals out there. And money, you don't need money to start in real estate. I don't invest any of my own personal money ever in any of our deals now. Yeah. And I maybe you do that as well, but you just don't need that. If you have a good deal, the money is the easy part, right? Go and find the deal and the money will come. So you just have to get over these misconceptions and these myths of why you can't do real estate. And you have to just turn that mindset around and say, I can do real estate. Hey, look, if Tyler could do it, he grew up broke. He had no money. He lost 37 grand on his first deal. I could do that, right? Yeah, I could learn and I could grow and I could flip houses in 7 days, right? That was kind of the 4-minute mile. Everyone told me that was stupid and that we couldn't do it. Right. You can't flip a house in 7 days.
Roger
you can't
Bannister.
do a 40.
Love it.
You can't do a $40,000 rehab in 7 days. That's dumb. Why would you even try that? But for me, it was like, you know what? I'm going to show you. And to me, that's the most important thing. I don't care what other people say or what other people are doing. I care about me. My success is measured on what I see in the mirror, right?
What I love about Tyler, what some of the advice that you're giving is, what I've taken away from this is your passion for the work. Like, put in the work to find the deal, make the extra phone calls, drive for dollars. You find the deal, you've got relationships, the money's going to show up, and then contractors. And really what the big takeaway was the amount of time and effort and passion you have for other people. You said, I like to talk to people. I like to work with people. I like to network with people. Well, you're finding deals through networking. You're finding private money through networking, and you're finding contractors through networking, vetting everybody out, a lot of it on the phone, a lot of it through email, text messaging, those kind of things. But if somebody doesn't have the passion for people, this might not be the right business for them. Because like even yesterday, that apartment building I told you about, we were going to raise $600,000, pay all cash for it, which is everything purchase, rehab, soft costs, and we usually take an acquisition fee up front. That $600,000 covers it all. I held a call yesterday, had 60 attendees. We raised $3 million for that $600,000 deal. So my biggest problem now is I've got to tell some people no. I've got to push some people off. Guys that were kind of at the front of the line, I've got to give them the deal. And luckily, I've got some other larger deals coming down the pipeline. But because we focused on the relationships, people now, they don't want to invest with other people. People are saying like, I've got other people I could invest in. I could invest in the stock market. I don't want to do that. I want to invest with you, Josh. Because I've invested, I have passion for people, just like you do, Tyler. That's a big thing in this business. Because if you don't, then, the deals are going to go to someone else. The private investors are going to work with someone else, or just put their money in the stock market. And the contractors aren't going to want to work with you. They're going to just go work for somebody else who's maybe not as organized. Maybe that will pay them more, but the job will drag out. People like to work with people who are organized. Tyler, you sound like you're just doing a dynamic job, man. I really appreciate it. I love your advice. So Tyler, as we wrap up here and kind of head for home, where can people learn more about you? I know they have this event coming up. You've got your YouTube channel. We'll put all that stuff kind of in the show notes. But if somebody wants to reach out to you and learn more information about you and your business, where should they go?
Yeah, totally. So just to recap on what you just said was awesome. I totally believe that you are in the people business and real estate is the product, right? Mm-hmm. So whether it's a motivated seller, whether it's a contractor, a private money lender, anyone like that, you're in the people business and you sell real estate, right? So you got to understand that first, that you're in the people business. As far as getting out to me, totally reach out to us. My company is called Utah House Flip. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Come to Flip Hacking Live. It's an amazing event that you have some of these top players that are doing a ton of volume, that are just really opening up their doors to their business. And it's an incredible event. That's October 15th through the 17th. It's a 3-day event. It's virtual this year. You don't have to buy a plane ticket. You don't have to get a hotel. You don't have to do any of that. Like, we'll probably never get this experience again, which is kind of cool, that you don't have to travel. You can stay and just be involved, but you get to network with some of the top players. I have a saying that I always say, it's so much easier to fly with eagles than it is to fly with turkeys, right? So you got to surround yourself with these eagles, these people who are better than you and have been there and done that and can really help you lift up and go to your next potential. So anyways, reach out to us on Facebook, Tyler Jensen on Facebook, Utah House Flip on Instagram. We're doing another 7-day flip. Probably in December. We just got to find a house and we'll flip it in 7 days, right? Like, we just really use that as an ammunition, but I'm like, hey, I'm itching for another one. Let's do one, right? And so you can follow us on that, see how we do it. Check out our YouTube channel, 7-Figure Flipping. Check out the 7-Day Flip series. There's 9 episodes, everything from finding the deal, from raising capital, to our strategies on how we did it in 7 days is all in there. So, but nice. Josh, thank you, man. Like, it's been an honor. Like, hopefully your audience got some value out of this.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Tyler, this has been great
chatting with you.
Yeah, you too, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today on Accelerated Investor. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again.
So all my accelerated investors, I'm so excited to have done that interview with Tyler. I hope you really enjoyed it. There were so many nuggets in there. I hope you connect with him on social media. Make sure you grab this episode of Accelerated Investor, share it on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, share it. So give us a rating, review if you really enjoyed this interview with Tyler. You learned a few things. Leave us a 5-star rating and a 5-star review. And guys, as always, I just want you to know how much I'm grateful for you, how excited I am to be with you sharing these strategies, my own solo cast, these expert interviews that we do on Accelerated Investor. Help us share the word, help us build the ecosystem, help us build this community of accelerated investors by sharing this online and leaving us the ratings and reviews so we can help out the next person and the next and the next and the next to be a better entrepreneur and a better real estate investor. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, Josh here, and do you want to win a free Accelerated Investor t-shirt? All you have to do is give Accelerated Investor, our podcast, Accelerated Investor, a rating and a review on iTunes, okay? Do that now. Then send us a screenshot on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. What we're gonna do then is every week we're gonna pick our favorite rating and review, and we're gonna send that person a free t-shirt and maybe, again, some other cool, fun stuff as well from Accelerated Investors. So, again, don't forget to take a screenshot. Leave a rating, review, take a screenshot, send it to us so we know exactly who you are. And then once a week, every week on the podcast, we will announce a new winner. Don't forget to take a screenshot and send it to us so we know exactly who you are. We'll announce a new winner every week.
You've been listening to Josh Cantwell and the Accelerated Investor Podcast. Leave a comment on our iTunes channel and let us know what you want to learn next or who you'd like Josh to interview. While you're there, give us a 5-star rating and make sure to subscribe so you can be the first to hear new episodes. Follow Josh Cantwell and his companies, Strategic Real Estate Coach and Freeland Ventures, on all social media platforms now, and stay up to date on new training and investment opportunities. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of, apply for coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com.